This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's the least watched, what do you say? Hold on. I just literally had somebody say it. The least watched show on the internet. The least watched podcast on the internet. This is the least watched podcast on the internet, guys. I don't think that's true. I think there are several people that would love to have my numbers, but I mean, it's not like I'm fucking Hassan or something. Warlord, Ducky, Malord, welcome in. Who else is in here? Michael, Byrotic. Love you all. Glad to have you here. So, Flash. Yes, there was a Hassan mention. He's just everybody's whipping boy. Listen, guys, listen. I really don't want to have to transition to drama content. Okay, like, there have been several leftist content creators that have blown up, like the Vanguard. I like the guys from the Vanguard. They're cool and all, but, like, I don't do drama content. I can't stand it. I don't even watch much of their shit. I don't like drama. You would think I'd be great at it. You'd think I'd be into it. Really not. Not interested at all. The guy who does a show called The Troll Patrol doesn't like drama content and drama farming. I probably misbranded myself, to be honest with you. The name of the show comes from how I used to troll people on Facebook. And there used to be that creeper bar thing on the right where you could see what people, this is like 2015, 2016, something like that. And I noticed people were like engaging with the trolling I was doing. Like, people were actively watching the trolling. So that's where the concept for the show came from. I took the group that I created, the Troll Patrol was a group I created on Facebook, and then turned it into it was a Facebook live show, and that's why the old graphics used to look like Facebook, and it had that little bar in the middle, because it was supposed to be my Facebook feed live, and me live trolling people. But I kept getting banned, so I just started talking about the news. So that's how we got to this point. I just started doing the news. Because I used to do that. I was a news reporter for years. So and I love political talk radio. So I kind of combined everything together. And we're here now. Lenny! My Lord, welcome in. I'm sorry about the crash out last night, about my response to Newscomb Holiday, my friend. Let me explain to you my thought process on that. And I don't... Kenzai, my Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I went off on you like that. It's, to see people in my chat use a right-wing framing, to use a name literally given to him by Trump, it just kind of, it felt like a kick in the butt. Like, I have not done my job well if people in my own fucking chat are using Trump's title for him. He is one of the front runners, possibly the front runner, for the 2028 nomination. I try not to stand anyone clinically. Welcome in, my friend. The front runner. My issue is not anybody criticizing him or calling him names. It's that you're giving in to the right-wing propaganda against the 2028 front runner. And that just, like, to see my chat do that, to talk the way every other right-winger talks. I understand the issue about him clearing homeless encampments. I find that completely inhumane. But the problem with that is most people don't. That is a popular position to take. He is doing what is politically popular. Now that is disgusting to me, but the left really needs to get this through their heads. We are not big enough to where we can fight a violent revolution and win. We would lose. Now I've been having the conversations. Flash has seen those with idiots on the right who thinks they can win in a civil. We have all the guns. I would venture to say that just as many leftists are armed as right wingers. The right wingers just have way more guns and they're stockpiling them. Whether you like it or not, we are on Newsom's side. He is one of our fighters right now. And I know that's not I don't think the left doesn't have just as many guns. No. There are right-wingers with fucking 100 guns in their arsenal. I think there's just as many leftists armed as there are right-wingers, but the right-wingers have way more fucking guns. Fair enough, Flash. One side loses less than the other side, and there's a lot of... I recommend Robert Evans's It Can Happen Here podcast. That's one of the things I keep referring back to, like, that really stuck with me. And this would have been 3 or 4 years ago I heard him say this. Like, revolution rarely ever works out for leftists. So we should try our best through the democratic methods that we have available to us. I think I'm adding that second part on, but that was what I took from it. Newsom, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with everything or not, is one of our fighters right now. Now, do I want to get him elected in 2028 and then fucking be adversarial to him? Absolutely. And as I said last night, I don't even know that I want him elected. I think JB Pritzker. JB. I think, and that was another thing. I got into an argument with Melanie Cosmic Fox, and she's like, "We need to stop voting. We need to stop voting." And I'm like, "It's not like you're going to teach the Democrats a lesson. I've watched that happen for 50 years. All you're doing is ceding your spot at the table." And then the Democrats just move further to the right and try to court the likely voter. But we need to really wrap our heads around the fact that, one, this country is incredibly propagandized. Beyond belief. Oregon Gal, Curiouser, welcome in. Flash, my friend. But we are propagandized beyond belief. The Red Scare propaganda still permeates the boomers and even the Gen Xers. It's like with immigration. The majority of Americans want mass deportations of criminals. Then you start breaking it down. They don't want deportations of hardworking people who've tried to come the right way, yada, yada, yada. But ultimately, the country doesn't agree with us. We're a minority, and we need to do what we can to gain power and wield power, and part of that is going to be helping Democrats get elected and trying to drag them kicking and screaming to the left. So that was my thing. I just saw several people use right-wing framing against Newsom last night, and it just like, that's why I went on that rant about like, oh, I'm privileged to leave the country, yada yada. It's like I'm going through my own somewhat midlife crisis. Get back to I'm getting there clinically. I'm sorry. I'm going through my own somewhat midlife crisis. I'm going through a crisis of identity with the show, possibly. This is what I've always wanted to do. However, this doesn't make money for me. I still have to do my other job. My other job seems to be not going too well right now. Things not going too well. We've just gotten to a point of cynicism And then I watched a video. Watched a video last night. One of the dudes from Cracked was going over how Gamergate changed the world, and he said something very prescient to me. That when the internet, we first started communicating through text on the internet, on chat boards and shit, tone doesn't come across. If you say, I'm going to kill him, there's a lot in that phrase that is conveyed by your body language, your tone of voice. But if you say that online, all that is missing. So to overcompensate for the fact that you don't have body language and tone and shit on the internet, people became incredibly hyperbolic about everything. And you see that on YouTube now. And that's another, I go down through the front page of YouTube, and it's always like, how this show was horrible, and the major problem with everything is negative. And I know, coming from somebody who calls people dumb fucks and dipshits all the time, being like, oh my God, everything's so negative, is a little weird. I feel like Cartman in that first episode. Like, everybody's encroaching on my thing. I'm supposed to be the one calling people dumb shits and dumb fucks. And, it's really taking a toll on my mental health. But I think I'm not the only one, so, you suck it up, buttercup, and get back to the news kind of deal, and I guess that's where I've landed. Anyway, we'll watch the episode of South Park from last night at the end of the stream, around 10:30 or so. If you missed it, you'll get to watch it. We will do 2 showings. We'll show it once. I'll show an old episode, and then we'll watch the new one again. So everybody gets a chance to watch it if they want to watch it. Now let's get to the news. Donald Trump riding along with soldiers in D.C.
It's a healthy, attractive-looking group of people. It's good.
Well, until you walked in, sir.
Well, I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. I wanted to do this. We've had some incredible results. The results have come out. And it's like a different place. It's like a different city. It's the capital. It's going to be the best in the world. We're going to...
Also, the South Park episode, very on the nose on this.
Do what you're doing with...
Doug Burgum.
And very importantly, also, we're going to physically do it. We're going back to Congress for some money, and we're going to redo a lot of the pavement, a lot of the medians, a lot of the graffiti's all coming off. I've never received so many phone calls thanking me for what we've done in Washington, D.C., from people that haven't gone to a restaurant literally in 4 years. And they said, what you've done it's unprecedented. And people are now coming in. They're making reservations to come in, and they want to be in Washington, D.C. One of the things we're going to be redoing is your parks. I'm very good at grass because I have a lot of golf courses all over the place. I know more about grass than any human being.
Well, sir, since you're so good with grass, allow me to give you some words of wisdom. If there's grass on the playing field, play... Sorry. No.
Anywhere in the world. And we're going to be regrassing all of your parks, all brand new sprinkler systems, the best that you can buy, just like Augusta. No, it'll look like Augusta.
Well, I was starting to do it because, no, you need to make sure there's grass on the playing field so that they're legal. And then as I started saying it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's not actually what that means.
It'll look like, more importantly, Trump National Golf Club. That's even better. But we're going to have all brand new, beautiful grass. Like everything else, grass has a life. Do you know that? Grass has a life. We have a life, and grass has a life. And it's going to happen fast. It's going to go up like a miracle. So you do the job on safety, and I'll get this place fixed up physically. And we're going to be so proud of it at the end of 6 months. But let's say at the end of a year, this place will be maxed out in terms of beauty. And you people are winners. And I just think it's such an honor to be with you. And we're going to make Washington, D.C. great again. We're making our country great again. The country is very close to being great. When they say it's the hottest country in the world, they mean it.
Where do comedians go for material? Well, let's say I have been repurposing some old material, and then added a new story, and it has nothing to do with politics. Curiouser, I am ready. In the next couple of weeks, I would like it if we could go to a comedy club, and if you would videotape me, I'm sure the stream would appreciate it. I could put it up on YouTube, because I really want to do this new set. It's pretty fucking funny. I think I can kill with it. Governor Gavin Newsom. There, you guys happy? Spoke after California passed his new redistricting plan earlier today.
One, fair and square. Open your eyes to what is going on in the United States of America in 2025. That's what this is about. We're responding what occurred in Texas. We're neutralizing what occurred, and we're giving the American people a fair chance. Because when all things are equal, when we're all playing by the same set of rules, there's no question that the Republican Party will be the minority party in the House of Representatives next year. We'll be transitioning, and I'll close, from this process that has unfolded over the course of the last few weeks to the campaign. After I sign these two pieces of legislation establishing a special session and the maps, I also will be signing a proclamation on November 4th, the people of the state of California, in a transparent and, as Speaker and Pro Tem said, temporary and democratic way, will have the opportunity to determine their fate.
I assume he's a little hoarse because he's been on all these podcasts the last couple of days.
Our collective future. And I couldn't be more proud, again, of the extraordinary leaders that are standing up for the rule.
Oh, he's fuckable.
Are standing up for the principles and those enduring values of our founding fathers. Thank you for getting us to this point. We have a lot more work to do to get this done on November 4th.
Apparently some sparks flew. Oh. This is the actual signing.
Speak before he...
Now he's going to sit down to sign the bill.
Creating this special election and basically saying many points, but the fact that we find ourselves in this situation because...
And notice how California doing the same thing as Texas, but they put it to a vote. They're like, we'll at least show that there's a democratic process to this. Do the citizens agree? So it's going to go to a vote in November, I think. Or is it September?
It was Texas that fired the...
November.
This is California's response to that. And, of course, a lot of criticism towards President Donald Trump and the way he has been using the National Guard and ICE, even pointing out what happened last week at Japanese American National Museum at the Democracy Center when he was holding his press conference and masked men, we're obviously referring to ICE, showing up at that location.
Are we obviously referring to ICE? We don't know who those masked men were, but several masked men showed up, federal agents, outside of a Newsom press conference last week.
Location to many.
Seems like an intimidation tactic to me.
Japanese Americans during World War II in 1942 and incarcerated 120,000 of them. And it happened right there. There he just signed the legislation, him making many points about the president. And this is California's effort and the Democratic effort to fight back against what we've seen in the Trump administration throughout this year.
And that special election now set for November 4th, and that's when Californians will be able to weigh in.
Right. This is...
He should have used a Sharpie. He's going to continue marking with a Sharpie. He's going to continue mocking Trump. He should absolutely use a Sharpie. He should start drawing skylines on the bills as well. Earlier today in the California House, they passed the legislation you just watched Newsom sign. Apparently some sparks flew.
Mr. Speaker, is there a doctor in the House?
Are you asking the chair, Mr. Berman?
Yeah, I'm asking the Speaker if we have I am severely worried. Some colleagues from across the aisle are suffering from severe Gavin derangement syndrome, and I'm worried about their health. But I'll tell you, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of hearing the faux outrage and the lecturing and the hypocrisy from colleagues who are silent, or worse yet, support efforts to rip food assistance away from hundreds of thousands of Californians, who supported efforts to rip health care away from millions of Californians, especially in their districts. I'm so tired of Republicans, colleagues from across the aisle, who complain about the cost of democracy, but who are silent when the President of the United States, the duly elected President of the United States, never a debate on that from me. No stop the steal over here. Wants to extort California institutions for billions of dollars. Now, when we're trying to defend democracy, it's too high of a cost to bear.
Are you calling him a chucklehead? What? We all hate chuckleheads, I assume. Oh. We've got a CIA officer. The DOJ. God, I didn't even do the Elena Haba thing. I'm going to have to find that. Hold on. A CIA officer is speaking out following having his security clearance revoked. It was over 60 former officials had their security clearances revoked by the Trump administration.
Welcome back. Your big changes on the table now for the nation's national intelligence. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard announcing this week that her office will cut nearly half its workforce. The overhaul, billed by officials as the biggest reform since the office was created following the September 11th terrorist attacks. Now, this comes as Gabbard is revoking security clearance from 37 current and former intelligence.
37. I overshot it.
Of aiding and abetting a seditious conspiracy.
Purging non-loyalists, indeed.
Gabbard going on to say those officials manipulated intelligence for political purposes. Former CIA officer Joel Willett is one of those officials who got their security clearance revoked. Joining us now. Joel, thank you for being here. Specifically, you are accused of manipulating intelligence. Generally, how do you respond to that accusation?
Well, first, thanks for having me. It is an insane accusation. I don't have any other word to describe it. If Tulsi Gabbard or her staff had bothered to do their homework, they would understand that I left government in 2015, that I had no access to classified information in 2019 when I signed a letter that was highly critical of President Trump and his behavior on the phone with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine during his first administration. So I had no access to classified information to mishandle or manipulate. But
the polygraph thing, I don't know if that's a usual FBI thing. That has been completely discredited. But I know that, was it Hegseth came in and was requiring polygraph exams on people that worked under him?
I just think this proves a point that this administration's cruelty is matched only by its incompetence, because a quick check would have disproven her own words there. But I want to be clear, this isn't happening because of a letter in 2019. This is happening because my name surfaced as a potential candidate for the Senate in Kentucky last week. And a week later...
this is a man that might be running for Mitch McConnell's seat.
This administration weaponizes the government against someone it perceives as a potential political opponent.
And so how long have you not really had a security clearance? And now that it is revoked, what is the real change for you?
Well, to be clear, I do currently have a security clearance. No one in government has informed me that I don't have one. But what I'm telling you is that I did not have one in 2019 when letter that she is referencing was signed. I was a private citizen exercising protected political speech.
Okay, so now since then you were granted security clearances and now those have been revoked, but is that official?
No, it's not official. I presume it will be official in the coming days, but right now the only mention of it has been on Twitter. So
you're essentially in a waiting game, it sounds like.
Yes, this has happened to dozens of people who have done nothing but serve their country like I have since I was 17 years old in recent months. And eventually they figure out how to proceed with the tweets, but currently they haven't notified me of anything officially.
Have you spoken with anyone else that was part of this?
I have not. I know some of the folks on that list, and many of them I don't know. But I've had no present conversations.
Do you anticipate any sort of recourse here for yourself?
I will avail myself of whatever possible recourse. I think that there is no hope of my security clearance, not being eventually revoked or coming back. But I won't comment further on the legal realities. I think my focus going forward, as I said, I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. I've been protecting this country in some capacity or another, and I want to continue to find ways to do that and speak out against an administration that I think is weaponizing government and steamrolling people who've done nothing but try to serve the country, not a single man.
And do you think that this is
Not a single man.
larger workforce cut that they're trying to
He's married.
at the D9?
This letter and the names on that letter, I don't think have anything to do with that whatsoever. This letter seems very targeted. There are a lot of random names on there. And again, I believe that I was targeted for political purposes. And it's as plain as that.
Joe Willett, thank you. It's good to be with you and good to hear your side of the story.
So possibly the dude that will be, I don't think, taking on Mitch McConnell. Surely he's not going to run again. But will be running for Mitch McConnell's seat in Kentucky. Alina Habba has been unlawfully working as a U.S. attorney in New Jersey, according to a judge. As a result, Habba cannot participate in prosecutions by the office. It's coming today. A federal judge who rejected President Donald Trump's use of a loophole to keep Alina Habba in place as New Jersey's top federal prosecutor. In a 77-page ruling, the U.S. District Judge Matthew Brand said, that's what I'm saying, he only has a few days left, but we've been saying that for years now. Because remember when the hand thing happened? That was like in 2020. And he's still going. He glitched in like 2022. In a 77-page ruling, U.S. District Judge Matthew Brand said Thursday that Habba is not lawfully holding the office of United States Attorney and has been in the position without legal authority since July 1st. As a result, Habba, who had previously worked as Trump's personal attorney, cannot run the office the president attempted to keep her in charge of after her 120-day interim appointment expired. The Trump administration employed a series of maneuvers to try to retain Habba's control of the office after district judges ousted her in July. Faced with the question of whether Miss Habba is lawfully performing the Miss Habba. I didn't know it was Miss Habba. You got kind of a Miley Cyrus look going on there. You know what? Elena, you can be my oh, wrong one. You can be my shut up, Elena. Elena, you can be my GOP mommy. Sorry. The ruling by Braun, a Republican and Obama appointee who sits in Pennsylvania's Middle District, could also have wider implications for other U.S. attorneys' offices in Los Angeles, Nevada, New Mexico, and upstate New York, where the administration has effectively sidestepped or overridden both the Senate confirmation and judicial appointment processes for selecting U.S. attorneys. Attorney General Pam Bondi said the Justice Department would immediately appeal. She said on social media, Habba is doing incredible work in New Jersey, and we will protect her position from activist judicial attacks. Spokesperson for Habba did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Of course, I'm not throwing Joni under the bus. I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall, and if any GOP woman would like to hop on the offer to hop on pop, they absolutely can. Now, Trump, I don't know if he truth socialed, if he truthed out anything about that judge, but I know he did truth out about this judge. He's calling it a win. Right-wing media is calling it a win. They're calling it an own. But all they did was throw out the penalty. Trump still committed fraud. The penalty has been thrown out by the court. Not the conviction.
Turning to a new push to end.
I guess not conviction. The
carries out its biggest strike in weeks.
Meantime, there's a major legal victory for President Trump today. Our D.C. bureau chief Ben Kennedy.
It's not really a victory.
Much more than.
Today's Calvin, we're talking about nearly $500 million with Trump and his supporters calling this a big win in a ruling that is now facing
the Zerwin light. Have we gone through this before? Welcome in, friend.
Victory in New York, throwing out a nearly $500 million civil fraud penalty, with the panel ruling
You're
the
light from now on.
violated the Eighth
You
Amendment.
are the light of the
On
world.
social media, the commander-in-chief touted the win, saying, "I greatly respect the fact the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful and disgraceful decision."
Yeah, gone through me trying, zero fucking A. Yeah, me trying to figure out how to say your name. I go through that a lot. Welcome in, Zero.
Of a major victory in New York, throwing out a nearly $500 million civil fraud penalty, with the panel ruling the fine was excessive and violated the Eighth Amendment. On social media, the commander-in-chief
Well, any friend of Tyler X is a friend of mine.
the fact the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful and disgraceful decision that was hurting business.
Wrong. Did not throw out a decision throughout the penalty. They're going to assess a lesser penalty on him.
All throughout New York State. It all stems from a lawsuit filed by the state's Attorney General Letitia James that accused Trump of inflating his net worth to secure better loans and insurance deals. James says her case has merit and in a statement said, "We will seek appeal to the Court of Appeals and continue to protect the rights and interests of New Yorkers." Today's decision was not unanimous and leaves Trump still liable for fraud in this case. It comes as the administration is focused on peace in Europe this week.
And I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out.
After
Giorgia Maloney can be my GOP mommy. Even Mertz is like, look at her. Wow.
focused on peace in Europe this week.
And I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out.
After back-to-back meetings with Ukraine's President Zelensky and Russia's Vladimir Putin, Trump sharing this photo of him pointing the finger directly at Putin, drawing parallels with a picture of Richard Nixon pointing his finger at USSR leader Khrushchev in 1959. Writing, "This is a war that would have never happened if I were president, zero chance." Thursday, the Kremlin launched its largest strike on Ukraine in more than a month, officials say, with more than 500 drones and 40 missiles, targeting the western region of the country. The attack also struck an American-owned manufacturing company and injured at least 19 people, with a spokesperson for the company stressing they do not produce, supply, or support any military equipment. And one holdup for peace talks does center on security guarantees Russia says they want to be involved. The White House also states that it would not include U.S. boots on the ground in Ukraine. Janice, Calvin?
And Ben, we understand Trump will be leaving the White House behind you soon to patrol the streets of Washington.
To patrol the streets. I thought there would be a live shot of that.
You're right. In fact, Trump will see his efforts to combat crime firsthand in just a bit. He'll meet with members of the military and law enforcement. It's been about a week since the federal takeover, which has faced pushback from residents here in D.C. and also lawmakers, as we now wait for the White House to release details about the when and where it'll happen tonight.
Some surveys say 8 in 10 D.C. residents do not like the federal takeover. Ben, thanks a lot.
Some surveys show that people out here throwing Subway sandwiches at them. Trump has accused several of his political enemies of mortgage fraud. This is a new thing.
Back to meet the press now as President Trump continues to pressure the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. His latest target is a Fed governor. Lisa Cook is her name. The president posting on social media that Cook must resign now, he says, after the head of the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency, an outspoken critic of the Fed.
Oh, that Cook.
Of mortgage fraud, claiming in a letter to the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, that Cook falsified bank documents and property records to secure more favorable terms on a loan. In a statement, Cook said that she had no intention of being bullied into stepping down. She is just the latest perceived political enemy of the president to face mortgage fraud accusations.
Yep.
NBC News reported this same month that Bondi had appointed former interim U.S. Attorney Ed Martin to serve as a special attorney to investigate similar allegations against California Senator Adam Schiff and New York State Attorney General Letitia James. Both of them have pushed back on those allegations. And NBC News politics reporter Alan Smith is joining me now. So, Alan, start with the allegations, and we'll talk about the bigger picture here. But first, what are these allegations against Lisa Cook?
So the allegations against her are actually quite similar to the allegations that are against Tish James and Adam Schiff, and it is that on a mortgage application, she listed a residence as her primary residence that wasn't necessarily where she was living most of the year. This is actually a pretty common occurrence that we've seen in campaigns. You know, I was talking to somebody who's worked on a number of Republican campaign efforts over the last few years, and they said one of the...
So she's a Fed chair, and she spends most of her time in D.C., but she listed her home as blah, 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 wherever the fuck she's actually from. That sort of thing, yeah, they all do it. This is the lawfare they accuse Dems of waging. Absolutely.
First things they have researchers look into is whether or not a candidate has listed a residence as their primary residence and is actually not where they're spending most of the year. And this is an issue that, again, comes up in campaigns all the time. But as this person told me, look, this often, you know, if someone does do this incorrectly, often leads to a fine. It's not something that's going to screw their entire life up. So it's interesting that, you know, as soon as these allegations have surfaced, President Trump has already called for resignations, and we've seen Ed Martin really push hard for the Fed to take immediate action before an investigation has even taken place.
Just a reminder to folks, if they're not familiar, Ed Martin, of course, was the man who was among those who was heavily defending the January 6th
Now, I don't know if that is the situation that Flash described. I don't know that for sure, but that would be my guess, that she has some apartment, townhome, something in D.C., and that's where she spends most of her time because of her job.
Here in Washington, D.C. So you talk about the impact it could have on an individual's life. Is there a criminal investigation into Cook right now? Like, what are the stakes here?
So Ed Martin did come out today and express interest in looking into this and has already written directly to the Federal Reserve Chairman. So, you know, right now he is explicitly investigating Adam Schiff and Tish James over such allegations, and just today has come out and said that he is very much open to looking into the latest allegations against the Fed Governor Lisa Cook.
So the big picture here, Alan,
he's going to fuck it up the way he did with Tish James.
Of President Trump using the Justice Department to go after his political opponents, perceived or otherwise. Do the allegations against folks like Cook, against Schiff, they don't clearly merit investigations like this. This is obviously pretty unprecedented here. So what does this say about the sort of the bigger picture? This follows a trend where the president was attacking Jerome Powell. Now he's found ways to attack Biden-appointed members of the Fed governing board. How do you sort of read the big picture of the climate that we're witnessing?
Well, it's interesting because I would separate the Fed example out just slightly, because it's not as if Lisa Cook was on the front lines of investigating President Trump, or as Adam Schiff was, right, a lead character in the impeachment investigations against him. But what it does say is that the president is deadly serious about turning the tables on folks who did spend years investigating him. Or were heavily involved in some of the impeachment actions or legal actions involving him and his business. And, you know, this is just the latest sign that it's not just talk for him. He wants to take action.
Yeah, or they are an obstacle to some policies that he wants to see implemented, specifically as it relates to the Fed, a desire to have interest rates cut. We've heard him call Jerome Powell all sorts of insults, including to his face, although in front of him he was a lot more polite in terms of his language. Alan Smith with the latest on that reporting. Alan, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back.
Thank you for watching, and remember,
shut up, Tom Llama.
News and top stories on the NBC News app, or watch live on our YouTube channel.
If you guys visit the other day, we did the story. Apparently, like, Lester was really laid back and a really good boss, and Tom Llama isn't. Tom Llama apparently very wound tight, runs a tight ship, whereas Lester was like go with the flow all the time. And the employees of NBC Nightly News haven't enjoyed the transition. Flo, welcome in. I'm sorry, Tom Llama. I'm sure you're all right. Tom Llama cracking that whip. You know, speaking of fraud, Trump accusing everybody of fraud. You know, it turns out that some reporting from New Yorker magazine has revealed that Trump's family has been in a frenzy to cash in on his time in the White House. Take it away, Amy.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. The number. How much is Trump pocketing off the presidency? That's the headline.
Listen. Now, I may want a GOP mommy, but in my in my heart, my true love is Amy Goodman.
Of an exhaustive new investigation published by the New Yorker magazine. In the piece, journalist David Kirkpatrick writes, quote, many payments now flowing to Trump, his wife, and his children and their spouses would be unimaginable without his presidencies. A $2 billion investment from a fund controlled by the Saudi Crown Prince, a luxury jet from the Emir of Qatar, profits from at least 5 different ventures peddling crypto, fees from an exclusive club stocked with cabinet officials and named executive branch. In March, Forbes estimated that Trump's net worth had more than doubled over a year to $5 billion. And a few months later, the New York Times estimated Trump's wealth had grown to $10 billion. But these estimates and others did not attempt to look at how exactly his fortune is growing. David Kirkpatrick writes, quote, although the notion that Trump is making colossal sums off the presidency has become commonplace, nobody could tell me how much he's made. I decided to attempt to tally up just how much Trump and his immediate family have pocketed off his time in the White House, unquote. Well, David Kirkpatrick joins us now in our New York studio. Welcome to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Explain how you arrived at the number and what is the period of time that he has made this money?
Well, what's important here is that I'm trying to be fair to the president. I'm not out to get Trump here. I went through and looked at all the sources of income, the income streams flowing into the Trump organization, the president and his family, and I asked, is this money that he would have made absent the presidency? Because he's got hotels, he's got golf courses. Sometimes people go there just to play golf or rent a hotel room. We're not talking about that. So I only wanted to look at money that he has made because he is or has been in the White House. And then I tried to ask as best I could, what is each one of those things worth? And that's how I came up with $3.4 billion. And again, I think what I hope will make this report credible, and the reason I urge people to read it is that I've tried as best I can to be fair. I've shown all my work, and people can make their own conclusions.
And David, could you talk about some of the specifics from the small to the big? For instance, the ubiquitous MAGA hat at Trump rallies. How is Trump has a private store that sells these? Could you talk about that, and also the family's investments in crypto?
Yeah, the hats. I was quite surprised to realize that in addition to the campaign merchandise sold by his campaign, which all candidates and all presidents do, that's money that goes into the campaign coffers that he can't really touch for personal purposes. The Trump organization also has its own online store, and they sell all kinds of Trump merchandise that looks very much like its campaign merchandise, but this money flows to Trump and himself. You know, $20, $40 for a pair of flip-flops, a pair of beer koozies, a baseball hat. He's making, you know, millions of dollars. You know, I don't know, forget what the exact number was, but 20 million.
Trump 2028, rewrite the rules. That is official shirt on the Trump website. He's remodeling the White House to add a $200 million ballroom. As someone pointed out on Twitter, he sure is acting like he is remodeling something for a permanent stay that, you know, he's only supposed to be there a couple more years. I said it in 2015. He will not leave office willingly. He is not going to leave office willingly this time either.
Millions of dollars over the last few years selling this kind of merchandise, which is arguably competing with his own campaign and diverting some of the money that his supporters might think is supporting the MAGA movement and his candidates to his own pocket. That's the small end. Nobody thinks that anybody who's paying $50 for a baseball hat is actually going to get any influence, you know, over the president in return for that. That's just a way of making money. On the other extreme,
they probably like it better if it's going straight to Trump.
Significant amounts of money flowing into the Trump organization now through its various, or the president's various.
Flash, I have told them Trump is ripping them off like every fucking day for years now.
Crypto enterprises. Some of these predate his return to the White House. But I tried to look here at all the money that they made off of the White House over the course of the 2 terms and the time in between when he remained a kind of kingmaker in the Republican Party. So, and most of it has happened around his second term, shortly before through his second term. In terms of crypto, should I go through and break down all the ways they're making money off of crypto?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, here you go. So first of all, for people who might not be familiar...
Do you not know what show you're on? This is Democracy Now! Do they want all the excruciating details? Yes, please.
Crypto, all it is really is a kind of online ledger or spreadsheet keeping track of who owns what. There's a number of ways that the Trump family has tried to take advantage of this new technology. He started out by selling NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which are basically sort of digital cartoons of himself. Then he moved on to setting up a company. His son set up a company called World Liberty Financial, and that's done a couple things. It sold a kind of token or online certificate that would ostensibly allow somebody to vote on whatever its future plans in the crypto business might be. They raised, $550 million selling those tokens, and 75% of that flows to the Trump organization. Then it went into a new business selling what's known as a stable coin. A stable coin.
Hey, fellas, have you heard about NFTs? I'm sorry, that's a South Park reference.
It's basically the online equivalent of $1. It's not really an investment. It's just a kind of like almost a checking account. It's a way to transfer money here and there, perhaps more efficiently by doing it digitally. For the company, World Liberty Financial, they get to make money off of investing that money in treasuries while it's out in the world circulating as a stablecoin. So they go into the stablecoin business. Their first customer is a company owned by the United Arab Emirates that puts up $2 billion to buy a stablecoin. While that money is out circulating as stablecoin, they're going to get about 4% a year on that, I calculate, by investing it in short-term treasuries. So that's a couple. There's a few others he's gone into. His meme coin is perhaps the most famous. The President Trump, right around the time he was elected, before he was inaugurated, went into this business selling a kind of online novelty. Basically just a joke. It's a kind of digital certificate that just allows you to say, I paid money to own a little Trump novelty. That's it. That's all it is. There's nothing to it. And it doesn't even purport to sort of hold wealth, although you can trade it back and forth. He's made about $300 million selling those meme coins. And the last thing is
it's completely worthless.
Kind of financial engineering that his company, Trump Media and Technology Group, a publicly traded company of which he's the chairman, a little bit of financial engineering that company has done. Now, that is the company that owns Truth Social. Truth Social is a very small online, platform, social media platform. It doesn't have much revenue, maybe $1 million a quarter.
And I can tell you, as someone who is on Truth Social, it is all bots and nonsense. There is nobody actually on that site other than Trump. I assure you guys, because you can follow me on Truth Social at JustinFREAKIN.
It's never really made a profit. It doesn't have much chance of ever making a profit. And yet the stock that owns it, Trump Media and Technology Group, trades at a kind of surprisingly high price. People on Wall Street consider it a meme stock. It trades basically on how people feel about President Trump. And in the last couple months, really in June, that company has done a remarkable thing, which is they've issued new shares of stock. They've sold the stock at their inflated meme coin price, and they've taken that money and they've bought Bitcoin. They've also done the same thing to try to stockpile some cash, but they bought about $2.3 or $2.4 billion worth of Bitcoin. And they've stockpiled about
Did he say billion?
$60 million worth of cash.
Did he say billion with a B? B?
Coin. They've also done the same thing to try to stockpile some cash, but they bought about $2.3 or $2.4 billion worth of Bitcoin, and they've stockpiled about $760 million worth of cash. So in the end of the last quarter, they said, look, we've got $3.1 billion of liquid assets on our books. So I calculate that since President Trump owns 42% of that company, he has an ownership interest in that $3.1 billion. So as I was doing this reporting over the last few months, my calculation of their net worth, of his net worth, bumped.
The passionate mind.
I shouldn't say his net worth. Of the amount of money he's made off the presidency, jumped up by $1 billion.
Other members of the family, for instance, Jared Kushner and his daughter, in terms of the investments by foreign governments, sovereign funds in them, and what that looks like?
I think you're thinking about Jared Kushner's private equity firm. So after after Trump left the White House in 2020, his son, Jared Kushner, who had been in real estate, went into private equity, a new line of work, and he went to the Persian Gulf to solicit money, and he asked the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia to invest. Their panel of advisors said this is a mistake. He doesn't have a track record in private equity, only real estate. There could be some public relations problem here. People are going to say this is a payoff to the family of a president. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who controls the public investment fund, overruled that and nonetheless invested the $2 billion with Jared Kushner's private equity firm. Since then, he's accumulated as much as $4.8 billion in assets under management, almost all of it from foreign sources, quite a bit of it also from the United Arab Emirates and Qatar. Under standard private equity terms, he would get 2% a year of that money as asset management fees. With Saudi Arabia, it's a little bit lower. But that is also, I'm counting, as money flowing into the Trump family coffers as a result of their time in the White House.
Can you tell us, David, about the family? I mean, in the first term, many of them were advisors to President Trump. They were in the White House. They would have to deal with ethics rules. We don't see that right now. So I'm wondering how the family business has changed from the first term to the second term. And I also wanted to ask you about, for example, President Trump says he struck a trade agreement with Vietnam. He'll apply a 20% tariff on Vietnamese imports, down from the 46% he threatened. The reported deal comes just weeks after the Trump Organization broke ground on a $1.5 billion golf course in Vietnam.
Yep, that sounds about right.
A few questions there.
Yeah, a few questions there. So during the first term, President Trump, on his way into office, volunteered that he and his family were not going to do any deals overseas because they didn't like the way that looked, right? It raises the specter that some foreign interest or even foreign government is going to try to buy favor with the U.S. government by paying Trump and his family privately. During the second term, the family has said, we're not going to do that anymore. We're no longer going to abstain from those deals. Donald Trump Jr. has said publicly, look, we restrained ourselves last term and people accused us of profiteering anyway. So we're not going to lock ourselves in, quote unquote, the proverbial padded room. We're just going to go ahead and be businessmen and do as many deals as we can. And they've done quite a few. Now, again, in my accounting, I'm not including deals which appear to be extensions of the business they were in before he was elected. You know, he had licensed his name for use on 4 condominium buildings around India before he ever went into the White House. Now there are 5 more Indian projects. Fine, let's leave that aside. That's more or less legitimate Trump business. On the other hand, since late 2022, when he was really the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, he's had a whole flurry of new deals around the Persian Gulf with one Saudi Arabian company, and that's in, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, a couple in Saudi Arabia, and one in Qatar. And I don't think there's any way those would have happened without the presidency. And that adds up to, I would say, guessing as best I can, the various income streams involved. That's more than $100 million right there in terms of its present value. You mentioned the Vietnam project. That's another one that I think, would not have unfolded as it has were he not returning to the White House. That is probably, physically going to be the largest Trump branded property in the world. It's Its planned size is about 3 times as big as Central Park, with 54 holes of golf. It's very hard to know how much the Trump family is actually going to make out of that property. On his most recent financial disclosure form, he said that the Trump organization had already received $5 million in initial licensing.
And they've been buying up bonds.
To that property. He's not going to build it. He's not going to own it. They're just lending their.
He hasn't mentioned that, and I wonder if he's going to go into that. There was a story that came out yesterday or day before yesterday. On January 21st, Trump started buying up government bonds.
Some management services. So I figure over 10 years, which is kind of a minimum term for a management or licensing agreement, he's likely to make at least $50 million with a present value of about $40 million. Probably it'll be a lot more than that.
And how much of this is, in your perspective, is legal, and also how much of it is unprecedented for a president?
As far as I can tell, it's all legal. I don't have any evidence of a quid pro quo. I don't have any evidence of a specific instance where he has explicitly sold a public favor for personal profit. And the remedy that our laws prescribe for potential conflicts of interest is disclosure. Elected officials disclose what they own and how they're making money, and the voters or the Congress can decide what's appropriate or inappropriate. And I guess we'll have to see how voters feel about that. The other part of your question, I think, was what again?
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second, Kenzo.
How much of this is unprecedented for a president?
Completely unprecedented.
Well, a lot of that's been widely reported. There's nothing like this before, right? A lot of presidents make money after they leave, selling books, various other endeavors. But he and his family are making this money while he's in the White House, and the scale is really quite novel.
I'm sorry I woke you up.
In the last 10 seconds, you talk about the frenzy.
Well, that's right. What really surprised me about all this is just how fast they're making this money. They seem to turn down no opportunity.
Getting it while they can.
The questions about a conflict of interest all the more pressing, because I feel like when they are so evidently zealous, so eager to make money, it really sharpens the question of what a buyer, so to speak, might be getting for that.
David Kirkpatrick, I want to thank you so much for being with us.
And keep that in mind about gifts that he's getting as we watch South Park here in a little bit. Trump goes on $100 million bond buying spree. President Donald Trump has reportedly put $100 million into bonds since taking office in January through a mixed bet on the debt of both big companies like Meta and Home Depot, as well as municipal governments and public entities. The move is notable because he has not placed his investments in a blind trust, unlike other presidents, but also because, as one expert believes, it signals that he expects interest rates to fall. He's doing his best to cause that. President Donald Trump has gone on a bond-buying spree since taking office, reportedly sinking in more than $100 million into debt issued by big companies and municipal governments alike. Trump put millions of dollars behind his bond strategy in February, including between $500,000 and $1 million each into bonds issued by companies such as Home Depot, T-Mobile, United Healthcare. Another bet of between $250,000 and $500,000 went into debt issued by Meta, based on a CNBC calculation of 690 transactions reported to the Office of Government and Ethics since January and published on Tuesday. He has also bought debt issued by local U.S. governments, gas districts, water supply districts, hospital authorities, and school boards. The White House did not immediately respond to Fortune's request for comment. Investors usually turn to bonds because they are less volatile than stocks. A bond is like a loan that pays out interest to an investor, usually semi-annually over a defined period. Once that period ends and the bond reaches maturity, the investor gets their principal investment back. Trump's bond-buying binge stands out because he, unlike other presidents, has not put his investments into a true blind trust. Otherwise, Trump's bond purchases, whether directed by him or the person in charge of his finances, look like the typical bet of a deep-pocketed investor, one who thinks interest rates are set to fall, said Russell Rhodes, a clinical associate professor of financial management at Indiana University. Now, all indications are that the Fed is probably going to raise rates, we're seeing inflation go up. So, because bond prices typically rise when interest rates fall, it's possible Trump made the bets, hoping he could later sell the bonds at a profit. Rates are likely to drop faster for corporate bonds than for government bonds because they are riskier. Trump's insistent pressure for the Fed to cut rates could also be akin to him talking his book. You could take the way that he's been pushing so hard for the Fed to cut rates as like a portfolio manager going on CNBC and talking positive about a stock that's a big holding of theirs to try to get other people to buy it. It didn't go into detail on the type of bonds that he bought, but if you'd like to read the rest of the Fortune article, it is in the chat there. Let's keep it going on fraud, shall we? To the surprise of absolutely no one, one Mr. Dr. Phil McGraw has been accused of fraud. Dr. Phil McGraw was accused of committing a massive fraud against the world's largest Christian television network. Both of them were probably trying to defraud each other. The Daily Beast reported on Tuesday that McGraw, who goes by the stage name Dr. Phil, overpromised and underdelivered in more than $500 million contract that he struck with the Trinity Broadcast Network after leaving CBS in 2023. The report cites a complaint filed in a federal bankruptcy court in Texas. According to the complaint, McGraw's production company reiterated numerous representations related to the show, to the then current advertising revenue, product integrations, production costs, and viewership of the Dr. Phil show. McGraw then allegedly used the false figures to convince Trinity Broadcast Network to pay him $20 million up front and $50 million a year for a decade to produce 160 new episodes of Dr. Phil. Wait, what? That's all? $70 million to produce 160 new episodes? That's all? Guys, I do well over 200 episodes of the Troll Patrol every year. 160 new episodes over 10 years? Seriously? The complaint also alleges that McGraw did not give Trinity Broadcasting Network the rights to the Dr. Phil library. Instead, he tried to force the company to pay $100 million for a 50% interest in the content. Let them fight it out. Fuck the Trinity Broadcast Network. I'm glad they got scammed. If you were dumb enough to hire Dr. Phil, that's on you. A former top aide to Mayor Eric... Speaking of fraud, again, a former top aide to Mayor Eric Adams is apparently facing new charges related to trying to pass a bribe to a reporter.
As the mayor's race shifts into high gear, another City Hall corruption scandal could impact the outcome.
The mayor's closest ally, Ingrid Lewis-Martin, already indicted last year, is one of several people due in court tomorrow to face new charges. Political reporter Marcia Kramer is here with more. Marcia.
Well, Dick and Jess, although the mayor's race is still months away, this new set of charges against a woman Eric Adams has called his sister is not good news for a man trying to convince voters he should continue to steer the ship of state.
4 more years! 4 more years!
Mayor Adams opening a new campaign office in Harlem as news surfaced that Ingrid Lewis-Martin, one of his closest political associates, will return to court tomorrow to face new corruption charges. Her attorney, Arthur Aidala, confirmed to CBS News New York that she will be in court tomorrow to answer a new set of charges filed by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. He said the DA had refused to provide details of the new charges, saying, quote, "What she does know is this. She has always served the city with integrity, and she she will firmly plead not guilty to any charge. While the specifics remain unclear, Ingrid is certain of one thing: she has broken no laws and she is not guilty. Last December, Lewis Martin walked into court, her hands cuffed behind her back, to answer charges of bribery, money laundering, and conspiracy. Her son, Glenn Martin,
She's not a bad-looking lady. She can be my GOP mommy. Flo, did I tell you good evening? I had that right-wing radio personality that I used to work for back in like 2016. And we got into an argument once, and he said something, blah, blah, blah. You know, you earn it, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, bro, you're acting like we live in a meritocracy, and you know that's not true. If we lived in a meritocracy, I would be your boss. He did not like that at all.
second, was also charged. According to the New York Times, the new indictment involves Lewis Martin and her son, plus Jesse Hamilton, a former deputy commissioner for real estate at the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, and two supporters, Gina and Tony Argento, who run a Brooklyn soundstage company. They and their employees were major contributors to Adams' 2021 campaign. A spokesman for the Adams campaign said, quote, Mayor Adams stands by her decades of public service and remains confident that the truth will prevail. Ingrid has dedicated her life to the people of New York City, and she deserves the presumption of innocence and the support of those who know her best. At the time of her first indictment, Arthur Aidala, her attorney, defended her innocence.
As they like to say, the highest-ranking city official next to the mayor is going to take a bribe in the form of a check and put it into her checking account. Come on, folks.
And while Adams is not expected to be charged, the new case is certainly not good news. It reminds people of the various scandals that engulfed his term in office, and it makes it more difficult for him to tout the accomplishments of his administration. Jess?
It definitely adds to the ongoing chink in the armor for him, right? He can't really afford many more.
It does.
Certainly not helpful.
All right, thank you, Marcia.
Thanks, Marcia.
As long as we're talking about Adams, this is another piece of information I forgot to put on my list, but is quite interesting here. Adams' effort to run on an end anti-Semitism ballot line could itself be ending. He has been told to choose. He chose safe and affordable, end anti-Semitism. Both. He tried to run under both, and they're telling him, you got to choose. Adams is in pickle with his ballot line. He has to choose between the body's safe and affordable and end anti-Semitism by Tuesday, according to a letter sent by the City and State Reporter. Adams said he would go to court to contest the election board's decision that he had to pick one. Adams' spokesperson, Todd Shapiro, said the campaign was still pursuing legal options, but he also said that Adams would certainly appear on the safe and affordable ballot line, suggesting that end anti-Semitism may get the boot. Adams' support among Orthodox Jews helped him win the 2021 mayoral election. His initial petition to run on that's a hard thing to say. I'm sorry. Try to say it 5 times fast. End anti-Semitism. End anti-Semitism was seen as a challenge to Cuomo, who previously called anti-Semitism the most serious and important issue in his campaign. It also presented a counter to Mamdani's criticism of Israel, which drew accusations of fueling anti-Semitism. But New Yorkers, including many Jewish New Yorkers, say affordability is their top issue in this election. Whatever Adams chooses, the polls aren't in his favor. A new one out today concludes he has no path to victory. Apparently, the Cuomo strategy at the moment is to try to get Adams to drop out and try to convince Republicans to vote for him instead of JoJo Silva. Let's go down to South Carolina. Do you remember... Was this April, May? It wasn't very long into the congressional term when Nancy Mace went onto the House floor and accused a bunch of men of being rapists. You guys remember that? One of them has been denied bond on a domestic violence charge.
Bond was denied this morning for Sullivan's Island businessman Eric Bowman, who turned himself into police on a felony domestic violence charge in connection with a November 2016 incident, according to Charleston County jail records. The 45-year-old was booked into the Elk Canyon detention.
Did my internet stop? What the hell? No, the video is just blank. The video is still going.
Face and choked. A heavily redacted incident report obtained by News 2 stated that the woman reported the assault to the Sullivan's Island Police Department after she was informed of the video's existence from a state law enforcement division agent in a separate investigation. The victim confronted Bowman in court this morning.
Eric, you're in jail today because by the grace of God, SLED found that on video. It provided a glimpse of one night in what was actually a long, hidden pattern of systemic abuse that took multiple forms.
We reached out to Bowman's attorneys for comment and are awaiting a response. Bowman, one of 4 men named by U.S. Representative Nancy Mace in that explosive speech on the House floor, during which she claims she accidentally found evidence of, quote, rape, non-consensual photos, and videos of women and underage girls, including herself. All the men have publicly denied the allegations. We are following this story. Have much more on our website, countont2.com.
One of the men filed a defamation lawsuit against Nancy Mace, but that's been tossed now. Judge tossed a defamation lawsuit against Nancy Mace because the reason why she did it on the House floor, she can't be sued for defamation. Federal judge on Wednesday tossed a defamation lawsuit against Nancy Mace, filed after she took to the House floor to accuse a man of being a predator. U.S. District Judge Richard Gergel ruled that federal law entitles the Justice Department to step in and largely make Mace immune from the damages and proceed to dismiss the case in its entirety. Gergel did not address whether Mace actually defamed the man, Brian Musgrave, and acknowledged the ruling means he may have no ability to recover damages even if she falsely destroyed his reputation. Congress has weighed the risks and benefits and concluded that libel and related claims against federal officials acting within the scope of their employment are barred under federal law. It is the court's duty to uphold the rule of law. I would say she's not, she was acting as a congresswoman giving a speech on the floor, but that had nothing to do with her job duties as a congresswoman, so I don't know how that was in her official duty. Here's the thing, yes, Flash, I don't doubt that the accusations that Nancy Mace is making are real. I really don't. Doesn't surprise me whatsoever, but it all seems kind of fishy. Like, I can believe that the men she is accusing are gigantic pieces of shit, but also that Nancy Mace is a piece of shit, probably was involved in it and then had a falling out and then turned around and is using this bullshit on them. Now, straight from the horse's mouth, she says most of the things out there about her are true, or at least half of them.
People, if they don't want you to win, they're going to use whatever technique or whatever dirty tricks they can. So are you worried about some of the dirty tricks that your opponents might do in this race?
Well, they're already doing it. If they can't find it on you, they're going to make it up. And thank God all of my stuff is out there. You can see the videos, you can see the photos, you can read the negative press. I would say only half of it's true. Some of it is. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
People, if they don't want you to win.
He's on the Blaze. You didn't know how big, he's one of the biggest right-wing commentators now. This dude, if you guys don't remember who this guy is, he's saying that Originally, everyone thought he was some crazy left-winger. He wasn't. He did a vaccine song. And I thought it was hilarious. That was a clip I made of the Troll Patrol back in 2020. Him going, was it like a public hearing or something? He's dressed up as if he's a doctor or a nurse. He blew up for sexually harassing AOC. That's exactly right. It does not work the other way. I have been trying for 5.5 years to blow up by doing the shit that the right does from the left. It does not work. I don't get to blow up for sexually harassing Nancy Mace and wanting her to be my GOP mommy. Which, Nancy, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Cancel Justin. Cancel Justin. Whew. This is what it looked like off the coast of Rhode Island, which is not a real state. Just a few hours ago, as Hurricane Aaron making its way up the East Coast. I said it multiple times on the stream, like this storm is fucking massive. It's not. It's a good thing it's not making landfall. Fucking massive. Yeah, there we go. There's the picture of it. Look how big that is. That's what she said. That's what Nancy Mace said. She decided to hook up with JustinFREAKIN. I think it's gonna make landfall in Canada. It's either gonna turn back and come your way, Warlord, or it's gonna make landfall in Canada. I haven't seen the latest models.
And I'm Amber Diaz. We begin this afternoon with the newest information on Hurricane Aaron.
Yeah, right now dangerous rip currents remain a threat, and beachgoers are being warned to stay out of the water. This is new video from today in Point Judith, Rhode Island. We have team coverage today on the impact. Kevin Geis is live in Westerly, Rhode Island. Melissa Cooney is in New London, and Storm Tracker meteorologist Anthony Carpino has the very latest on the hurricane's track. We start with Kevin.
Hey, Kevin Amber, good afternoon. Well, you have Hurricane Aaron way out there, but of course from the beaches here in Westerly, Rhode Island, you have a lot of people that are experiencing the power, the wind, the waves, just everything, all of the energy that this hurricane has to offer that's throwing all the way out onto the New England shoreline here. It's a spectacle, and people have been making the trip to come and see it. We've met a ton of people from Connecticut that have made their way down just to get a sense of what these waves are like. They've seen it on social media. They want to see it for themselves. Now, growing up in Connecticut myself, I can tell you the beaches here in Westerly always have had the best waves, so it's known that this is the spot to come and check them out. We've also met a few people all the way from Indiana. One man says he's never been this close.
In what state, Dougie?
His life, and he's definitely impressed. The waves have been the thing to catch, and catch them, many have.
It's strong. It's really strong. Yeah. I feel like it'd be fun to swim in, but definitely dangerous.
It's hard for the lifeguards to like keep track of everyone, so it's better for us to be out right now. And the currents are really strong.
I thought they were pretty giant. I mean, like, it's cool to see the dark clouds way out there. Like, it's nice and sunny here, and you can see the hurricane out in the distance with these giant waves, which is cool to watch. Like, they're crashing.
And of course, where there are waves, you'll of course find surfers as well. A bunch flocking here to get out in the, quote, carnage. That word is a direct quote from one surfer we met. In talking to them, they say, of course, you have to be careful and you have to know your limits, but you can't pass up the surf when it rolls into the ocean state.
So I'm imagining like this becomes sort of like a holiday for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No work.
This dude is dead now. He got riptided earlier.
It's humbling. That's the word I would use. Humbling.
I'm just playing. I don't know.
It's no joke out there. I mean, you get some 7, 8, 9 footers out there. It's pretty crazy. I'm not hitting those. I'm more the whitewash, but yeah, it's all about knowing your limits, humbling. But it's good. It's really fun.
I've been surfing since Monday, so I am straight like noodle arms right now.
Noodle arms.
You heard it here first, folks. Straight noodle arms. I think that was my nickname in middle school at one point. Everybody just wants to get out here and just kind of see the kind of power and the energy that this hurricane is throwing off. I
mean, if it killed someone, then some good drugs.
And of course, if you go down to the
got the good shit
beach, you'll find a lot of lifeguards as well, walking up and down the beach, just urging a ton of caution. But a lot of people at some point just trying to get a little bit of a view, maybe catch a picture or a video for social media and show people what the coast of New England currently looks like. Kev Amber will send it back to you.
Kevin Noodle Arms Geist, live for us in Rhode Island. Yes, we do.
Kevin Noodle Arms over here. I had asked the question, what was it, Monday? Like, school is back in session. How long until we have a school shooter? I thought I got the answer to the question, but apparently not. Apparently it was a hoax.
Learned some new information about the breaking news at Villanova University, which was on lockdown because of an alert about an active shooter. The school has just issued a release, and it says it turns out it was all a cruel hoax. There is no gunman. That is the good news. There are no victims either. Also good news. The school is calling it a cruel hoax and thanking first responders who ran to the scene. There's no word on how this happened. We're going to continue to follow all of this information, bring you much more at 11 o'clock. It was happening as orientation was underway to welcome in all the new students and their families. Very disturbing,
Yes.
Very frightening for all those people.
Good news, no question about
Yeah.
it, but gee, many Christmas.
Yeah.
The Villanova in Pennsylvania, Villanova University, turned out to be a hoax. They're not even in school yet, apparently. They were just doing orientation. Most colleges come back after Labor Day, I'm pretty sure. That's the way my college always did. We would have like two days the last week of August, and then we'd come back for real after Labor Day. Police apparently found a firearm in a suspected gunman's car after a shooting outside of a cheesecake factory in California.
Some frightening moments at Topanga Mall here in Woodland Hills. About 30 minutes ago, a man reportedly shot at a woman. That woman has been transported in unknown condition. At the time of the shooting, the suspect had ran off down the street towards Topanga and Irwin, but LAPD shortly caught up to him, and he is in the back of that cruiser as we speak. So suspect now in custody, so the situation is under control. You can see the presence here at the location where the suspect was taken into custody. Now we're going to go up the street here towards the Topanga Mall and show you what it looks like right now at the Cheesecake Factory at the Westfield Topanga Mall where that shooting happened. Again, about 30 minutes
I've eaten at a Cheesecake Factory before. Totally justifiable.
was transported. We just don't know what condition at this point. So there will be an investigation here. There's a large LAPD presence at the mall, but everything is secure. Suspect is in custody. An alert went out to the mall employees to let them know that there was a situation that happened just outside the Cheesecake Factory, but LAPD now has it all under control. Live in Sky.
I've actually never been to a Cheesecake Factory. I was lying. I was just trying to make a joke. Is it any good? Should I go? People apparently rave about it, but it's expensive for a chain restaurant, as I understand it. You guys like Cheesecake Factory? Big Ben has been to that exact Cheesecake Factory. Was it any good? Or did it deserve to be shot up? Oh, God, that's horrible of me. Having bad service at a Cheesecake Factory does not warrant being shot up. It's pricey. Yep. So it's pretty mid for overpriced. That's what I figured. I don't eat out unless it's a place that can cook better than I can. And not a lot of places like that, especially not chain restaurants. 9 people arrested after a 16-year-old was killed in a plot set up by his girlfriend.
All right, so it was around 11:30 p.m., June 24th, when Florence County deputies got the call. A shooting on a rural road near Johnsonville, South Carolina. When officers arrived, they found 16-year-old Trey Wright lying in the middle of the road, shot multiple times, twice in the chest, and barely clinging to life. Trey was a rising sophomore at Johnsonville High. He played varsity football, varsity baseball. He rode dirt bikes. He was just 16 years old. He was rushed to the hospital, but sadly did not survive. And Trey's death might have been written off as another small-town mystery, but then there was video and photos that surfaced. And police say they now know Trey was lured to his death in a calculated plot allegedly set up by his own girlfriend. They say she brought another boy, her
You can just break up with him, right?
other romantic interest, to that country road, where a group of teens then actually filmed the showdown. That's how they had the video of this whole thing. You see the photos there. 19-year-old Devin Raper, who had already allegedly flashed a gun at Trey before, argued with him over the girl until it ended in gunfire. And the next day, police ended up arresting Raper. You see the mugshot, charged with murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. And then 5 days later, Trey's girlfriend, 17-year-old Gianna Kistenmacher, this girl here, she was arrested.
Kistenmacher?
She was charged with accessory before the fact. Investigators say she drove Raper to the scene, knowing that he was armed and knowing, quote, that there would be a confrontation likely to lead to death. At Raper's first court appearance, he tried to argue his case to the judge. Listen to this.
Now that doesn't sound so much like a plot that was set up.
I did not do none of this. There was 4 more people.
I'm not here to try.
I understand that.
I'm not here to try your case, but you can speak to law enforcement and you can also talk to your attorney.
So he was trying to say, you're not supposed to say those sort of things at your first appearance, by the way. You're just supposed to stay quiet. But the judge obviously didn't want to hear it. Over the next few weeks, those other people started to materialize. 18-year-old Hunter Kendall, these are all the mugs here. 17-year-old Sydney Kearns, 18-year-old Corinne Belviso, all charged as adults under South Carolina law for allegedly setting up this murder. 4 others, too, they're too young to name. They were also charged. That's why the names and the mug pictures aren't there, though. But look at all of these young people. Wow, their lives pretty much ruined now. Florence County Sheriff's Office says they expect a 10th suspect. There's going to be a 10th suspect who is expected to turn themselves in soon. So we will stay on top of that story. But apparently the police have video to prove all of this.
Thank you for watching.
Oh, shut up, Cuomo, you piece of shit.
Now on your
Hey, Cuomo, remember when you got duped by an AI video that said it was clearly AI at the top of it? You thought AOC was on the House floor talking about fun bags, you stupid fuck. How'd you not get fired for that? Dan Rather got fired when he fell for some fake documents. It probably wasn't even him, it was a producer. He can't get more fired, he's already at News Nation. Fair enough. Nowhere. No, he shouldn't be on TV. The man should not be on TV. It is amazing that there are all these people that have TV shows that aren't talented and do stupid shit like fall for AI videos. I think Flash? I don't really know, to be honest with you. Speaking of cheesecake, Ducky, did you know that Curiouser made a cheesecake for me? No, that was last year. I'm sorry. I had peanut butter lasagna this year. Last year, she made a dark chocolate raspberry cheesecake for me. I don't know because I don't have TV Flash. Curiouser asked me yesterday if South Park was on live on Paramount, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it comes on the next day or if it airs, simultaneous to Comedy Central. No idea, because I pirate everything. I want to say it's on TV, or it's like it's the arm of WGN, the news arm of WGN or something. I'm not quite sure though, because to be honest with you, it's so insignificant to me. I've never actually looked into it. Who gives a shit about News Nation? They do a lot of Nancy Grace kind of stories. That is the only reason I use News Nation. Now, Flash, how can you not watch a lot of Dave? That's blasphemy in this chat. But News Nation covers a lot of stories like this one. Ryan Koberger requesting to be moved to a different prison block.
We're getting a revealing look at Brian Koberger's miserable existence behind bars in his own words. The monster claims he is the target of minute-by-minute verbal threats.
That's fair enough, Flash.
The complaint comes in this handwritten Idaho Department of Correction resident concern form. Koberger also complains about prison food and the lack of it. I have on several occasions not received all items of food on my tray, he writes. The nutritional standard is not being upheld unless I receive my full tray. In yet another complaint, Koberger claims he is the victim of overt sexually violent threats/statements.
I bet.
I wish to discuss if I may be transferred to another setting, he writes. We spoke to forensic handwriting analyst Bart Baggett.
His handwriting, it looks like it was written by a fourth grader.
That's what my handwriting looks like. It looks like it was written by me. That's what I was thinking as I was looking at it. Like, my God, that's exactly the way I write. Ducky was thinking it also looks like my handwriting.
By a fourth grader or someone who's really struggling to even hold a pen. Even though a lot of kids under 30 years old never learned how to write pretty cursive, his handwriting is off the charts.
Koberger is currently serving 4 life terms at this Idaho prison, one of the toughest in the USA. He is asking for a transfer out of J Block into B Block. Bail bondsman Kevin Corson of the Idaho Bonding Company is familiar with the prison.
J Block is where death row inmates are housed, and even though he's not on death row, I think he just really still fears the death row and he wants to get away from it.
I cannot write neat even when I try. No. I haven't tried to write cursive in so long, I probably couldn't even do it anymore. Because my handwriting was so bad, I always printed everything. So you can have some attempt to read it. Yeah, News Nation. Yeah, they cover a lot of stories like this. I mean, probably if I tried. I mean, the only cursive I've probably written in the last 25 years. Because, I mean, we got to high school. You had the choice. You didn't have to write. Because, in grade school, you had to write in cursive. When I was in school. I think that's a lot different now. I also can hitch a wagon. Did you guys see? It's just print with the, people are like, kids can't read cursive today. It's just print with, the letters tied to, you just don't lift up your pen. It's the same thing. How can you not read cursive? The only cursive that I have written in the last 25 years is my signature. And good Lord, can you not read my signature? I'm sorry I didn't give you this story last night. I'm sorry I crashed out and left before we got into this, because this is the one I'm sure everybody has been waiting for. Last year, about this time last year, maybe in the spring, maybe not quite a year, maybe we're coming up on a year, something like that. Huge story. A sheriff in eastern Kentucky, not far from where I'm from, I had to look it up. I was like, was this dude the sheriff when I was doing news? Because I covered Letcher County, Kentucky. The sheriff in Whitesburg, Kentucky, Letcher County, shot a judge in cold blood. We watched the video of it. Shoots him once, goes back, stands over him, shoots him more times, so it looked incredibly personal. We're getting new details about the alleged sex for favors scheme that the judge was engaged in.
What did you think when you were working there?
That it was a brothel. It is all just it's all a brothel between all the employees sleeping with each other and sleeping with the inmates that come in. And a lot of them, they are repeat offenders. A lot of them are permanent stayers. It's nasty. It's sickening.
Did you ever see anyone having sex?
I never seen anybody having sex, but I had heard stories. One of the female guards specifically was telling me that one of the places she takes male inmates.
Her shirt, as she's talking about the sexual favor scheme, says size matters. Now she's referring to beer. But it's just an interesting shirt to wear for this interview. Light one up, tip one back.
Was the storage room, which used to be a stairwell in front of the medication room. It's literally directly across. You can't get in there without a key, and that's where they take them. A lot of times they get took up into the courthouse, especially after
Silent, welcome in.
Nobody's at work, nobody's up there, so it's all empty. It's all empty space.
How common was that?
More common than you would want to believe in the court system. Even down to some of my daily supervisors. There'd be girls sign themselves out and take them on home. It was sick.
The supervisors would take the inmates home for the night?
Yes. When there's
She was a deputy jailer.
leaves that jail space, you're not supposed to be in contact with them for 6 months. So it's one of those things, oh, you're taking them, and then the girls go back and tell them the stories, oh, I slept with this person when he took me home. You know, it's sick.
What would the inmates get in return for having sex with, the leadership?
For inmates, the smallest things, unless you're going with one of the overheads. If they're sleeping with the guard, it's mostly for things like cigarettes, time out of the cell, pops, commissary, things like that.
Wow. What did you think when the sheriff shot the judge?
A lot of the corruption was going to come out. I knew that that was going to be the beginning to set everything aside to make people come in and people's voices finally be heard. Because even I believe that the sheriff, he either knew something or something was going on that he knew about that we all might not know about, but he was doing something to protect us.
Did you know?
I don't know. No. I don't believe that the cop was doing anything. I bet the cop knew about the scheme the entire time. Somehow his daughter got wrapped up in this, and that's why he shot the judge. You can't tell me that the sheriff of the county didn't know what was going on. I absolutely 100%, especially in Letcher County, fucking Kentucky, the sheriff knew what was going on in that courthouse. He just didn't give a shit until it came to his daughter somehow got wrapped up in it.
Sex with the judge?
Yes, pretty much that's kind of the thing that everybody in the county knows, but it was confirmed to me after working in the jail, especially after being invited to a party myself.
What happened?
I said no thank you, I declined, and kind of just went back on to what I was doing. It was just one of those things of, was I just asked that? Like, did that just really...
To a sex party?
We should be coming up on his pretrial conference and the court date here soon. Let me see if I can find that.
Yes.
Who asked you?
It was Mr. Mullins himself. My ex-co-workers, they come out and even ask me now not to mention it. They've even, them participating in the parties themselves, I had another one ask me to go to another one of Mullins' get-togethers. And I declined it again because it's one of those things.
So yeah, we're coming up on a year. This happened in September.
Better than that. You know what I mean? If you know, you know in the county. everybody knows. They might not speak on it. They might not want to be involved in it because of the fear of retaliation, because there's so many people that has come out and spoke out about what Judge Mullins has done. Even if we're afraid to speak up on it, we need to, because is this what we want for our next generation? Is that what we want for our kids? What we're going through, what our past people have gone through, do we want that for them? And no, I don't want that for my daughter. I don't want that for my son. I want better for them. I want an actual community that's not based on if you got money and know people and if you're willing to get on your knees or on your back. It's sickening, and I want better for them.
Thank you for watching.
Oh, shut up, Cuomo. Now, to be clear, it was not Judge Mullins. It was Judge Mullen, right? I am not Mullins. Oh, no, it was Mullins. My bad. I'm probably related to him then. So, I'm probably related to him. Yeah, Kevin Mullins. Well, shit. Probably my cousin.
A judge is now considering whether to throw out the indictment against Vicki Steins. Vicki's here with the argument Steins' attorney made for this motion in court.
Jennifer, Vicki Steins is charged with murder for killing Letcher County District Judge Kevin Mullins in his chamber last September. He could face the death penalty if he's convicted. Today in Letcher County, court Steins' attorney argued for the murder indictment to be thrown out and the grand jury to rehear the case. They claim a detective misled the grand jury about Steins' mental state when Mullins was shot. But the special prosecutor says evidence that Steins was mentally ill should be presented by the defense at trial and is not required of the Commonwealth during a grand jury proceeding.
I believe that had they not been told by a prosecutorial stamped witness, someone from the government, that he was sane, they wouldn't indict this case. Or at least they might not have indicted on murder.
Bullshit!
Counsel is conflating the role of a green.
Brother. We watched the video. Of course they were going to indict him for murder. That's all the prosecution had to do was just show the video. That's all you needed. Jesus.
Jury proceeding with the role of a criminal trial. It is very clear under the law that they are distinctly different proceedings. The grand jury is an investigative body. The Commonwealth has no obligation, as reflected in an abundance of case law, to come in, to present exculpatory evidence, and to attempt to mount a defense for the defendant.
The defense also asked the bond to be set at $50,000 so Steins can afford to pay it.
Bullshit.
The Commonwealth argued bail is not guaranteed for capital offenses under Kentucky law. The judge is giving both sides until September 2nd to provide more documents before he rules.
50 grand. 50 grand? Remember the Subway sandwich dude, they asked for a $500,000 bail for him. Just to give you some indication. A priest in Chicago has been reinstated to the flock despite the fact that he has sexual abuse allegations against him.
A Monsignor in the Chicago Archdiocese accused of sexual abuse of a minor has been cleared of any wrongdoing. Back in February, Monsignor Daniel Mayer was asked to step aside from ministry. The abuse was alleged to have occurred 30 years ago while Mayall was pastor of St. Francis Borgia Parish. Now, Cardinal Blaise Cupich says the Archdiocese Independent Review Board has determined there is not reasonable cause to believe the abuse happened. Cupich has reinstated Mayall effective immediately.
So the church investigated and said, he didn't do anything wrong. Get your crab dances ready. Speaking of shitty religious people, this one's for you, Byronic.
We're learning the founder of Focus on the Family, Dr. James Dobson, has died at the age of 89. He started a radio show.
Rest in peace.
On how to be good parents back in 1977. Then later, he entered politics in the 80s, pushing to bring religious
Libertad
into the political mainstream. He also served on a board of evangelical leaders advising President Trump. That was in 2016.
That man deserves to have his grave pissed on, danced on, shit on, however you feel like defecating, defacing. Rest in piss indeed. Now, I'm very concerned about my boy. I'd wondered what had happened to him. He took the music world by storm in 2019, and now he's out here jacking it in Atlanta. He pulled like the dude from the Coney 2020. Lil Nas X roams LA. Oh, I thought it was in Atlanta. I'm sorry, he's Atlanta based, but he was in LA. Roams LA street in tidy whites, hospitalized for a possible OD. This is our boy.
On down. Nah. Hey,
What
don't
up?
be late to the party tonight.
Where at?
You know where it's at.
God damn, is he hot?
Go ahead, babe. Nah.
He ain't doing anything wrong.
Nah. Go ahead, babe. Nah. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? Uh-oh, somebody's gonna have to pay for that. Da. Hey, for everybody coming to the party. La. Yes, I am serving you. I am serving you. And you better be at that party tonight. Oh, yes.
He ain't doing anything wrong, but he looks like he needs some help. I can't imagine what it was like for him to go from relative obscurity to fucking super famous almost overnight, and the backlash that he got. Because what was the song, Old Town Road? And there was a backlash by the country music people over the song. Then Billy Ray Cyrus stepped in to help him get on the country charts.
Nah. Go ahead, babe. Nah. Didn't I tell you to put the phone down? Uh-oh, somebody's gonna have to pay.
He's still looking sexy as fuck, though.
Da. Hey, for everybody coming to the party. La. Yes, I am serving you. I am serving you. And you better be at that party tonight. Oh, yes. Yes. Pow. Yes. Yes, get my good side. Every side. Yes. Boom, cat, tow. Pow.
So incredibly talented.
Sean Bankhead taught me that one. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Batty boy, want you to give it to me, baby? Batty boy, want you to give it to me, baby? That's gonna be a beautiful sunrise. Give me that phone so I can throw it.
I mean, this is like the sexiest man.
You'll never see it again. I don't like phones.
The fact that he's talented just makes him that much sexier.
Don't miss the party tonight. Why are you still here?
I want to go to the party.
About the party, girl. What's your problem?
I want to go to the party. Maybe this is an update.
And when I smile, this is me doing a full smile right now, by the way. It's like, what the fuck? Bro, I can't even laugh right, bro. What the fuck? Oh my God. So.
Are you okay, brother? I fucking love you.
Oh my God, bro. So. Yeah.
We normal over here. We get crazy over here.
He was hospitalized after a bizarre scene in L.A. where he was strolling down the middle of a major street early on Thursday morning wearing only his underwear and cowboy boots. Someone driving past him recorded Nas, who repeatedly pointed at the camera and muttered something about heading to the party. And at one point, he placed an orange traffic cone on his head. Well, we didn't see that part. Shit, he rocks that look too. Our sources say others in the Studio City area noticed Lil Nas and thought the whole thing was weird enough to report it to police. As it turns out, several people in the area had reported to the LAPD that they saw a nude man walking in the road. He wasn't nude. Officers responded and found him still walking down the middle of the road. And after Nas charged at officers, they subdued him and put him in handcuffs. Officers told the paramedics it was a possible overdose. Nas was transported to the hospital. Law enforcement sources tell us Nas could still face charges, but for now, he's still getting treated at the hospital. Just new boot goofing. That's exactly what he was. He's new boot goofing. It says charged at officers, but I mean, cops are gonna lie. Yeah, satire is dead indeed. We're gonna try to get a dose of it here with some South Park. Here is a diver that did a good thing for humanity and for nature, freeing a shark whale? Is that what it was? Hold on. What was it? This is a whale shark. Shark whale. A whale shark that got caught up in a discarded industrial fishing net. And these divers did an awesome and went down and freed the whale shark. A shark whale would be terrifying. A whale shark apparently just a big old harmless boy. I don't know my aquatic life. Yes, mad props to these divers. That poor baby getting tangled up in an industrial fishing net. There he is. He's completely free now. He don't look small. How big do these motherfuckers get? He looks like he could eat one of those divers. About twice that size? Damn. But thank you, divers, for taking care of the whale shark. They eat plankton? Looks like a majestic creature. What's with all the fish huddling with him there? They eat the stuff off their skin. Okay. That's what I was wondering, if they got his scraps or something. They follow behind whatever he eats and eats the scraps. Beautiful creature. We don't do a lot of sea creatures on here when I'm doing that. Also, I was off on the time period. I told everybody 10:30. Should we go ahead and watch South Park? Or should I kill time for 30 minutes? I was kind of off on my timing. I thought we'd be here until 10:30. I'm showing it twice, so let's go ahead and do it, right? YouTube people, Rumble, Kick, D Live. Light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before we get the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We will see you tomorrow night. Oh, wait a minute. Tonight's Thursday. Never mind. I'm still, off on days. I will see you Sunday night on the Troll Patrol Live YouTube podcast, all you people. Twitchy people, stay with us.